This is going to be a quick getter working video. I'm not going to overly restore this. The foam around here completely disintegrated and fell apart, so that's not been cleaned up, but it's been removed. First step is I'm going to remove these two hoses, and I'm going to make sure as much coolant is out of there first, and then I'm going to just give this thing a good kind of a scrubbing. Hoses are gone, labeled because they're very confusing to put back on. And I'm not going to garden hose this thing. I'm just going to clean it manually with my all-purpose foaming cleaner, and just get the case so it's a little bit more, I can handle it without getting all dirty. Labeled the wires, heater ground. The one with the brown stripe is the middle of the switch. This one goes in the middle of the switch. I want the yellow stripe goes top. This goes on the top of the switch. Notice this one has been overheated and melted. A clue to all the smoke I found when I turned this heater on. Why it's not, obviously the motor's not working right or something. Reasonably cleaned up now. Couple little rusty spots, but overall in good shape. All the rubber is soft and pliable. Original stickers are intact. Heater core, as far as I know, is not leaking, but I need to work on that. This is the clip for radio support, so you hook your radio to that. The foam, let's see here, this thing is intact. See the foam in here, and it's very thin. Some people recommended putting 1/2 inch foam here, but if you look at how it closes, if you put something too thick, it's gonna hold it open and it's gonna leak. This thing needs to close all the way. So all this is intact, but it's very old and brittle. I need to find a way to replace it, I think, but it needs to be thin, not 1/2 inch thick. Yeah. You can see the original foam coming out, what they used to seal the case with. I will probably not use foam. I'll probably use 3M strip caulk, but it's interesting. But overall, you know, pretty clean. Out. Don't touch these bolts. Leave those alone right now. What we want to do is get these screws out, all on the top, and try and get this whole lid off. So remove all these small screws. It's like 10 little screws. There it is. I'm gonna have to pull the wiring harness through. Yeah, it's loose now. I think the plan is to push this grommet into the heater box. See if that gives me enough room to get everything through. We'll see. I should be able to reuse that. Be able to get these through one at a time. Hope. All right, so I'll work on that. So I'm probably gonna have to disconnect the ground line to get this out, which is fine. So you're gonna need to remove the ground line and reconnect it later. Or cut it a little back and just add a connector later, so I can keep this all intact right here. So I would just cut it, you know, whatever, right around here or something. Now you can disconnect the motor. I was able to shake it into working a little bit. You can see how pathetic it is. There we go. A little noisy, very slow. A lot of people rebuild these things and they're not happy with the performance of them. That's why I'm just going to work on replacing the motor. This thing's pathetic. but it is turning for the first time in 15 years. I can feel that my wire and my hand is getting warm. It is not working. Shouldn't be doing that. But I just, hooked up the ground line and my power, my fuse power, sticking it on here. Come on, baby. Well, anyways, this is why it's working a little faster now. Back out of the foam tape that was here. I'm gonna have to clean that off. It's very deteriorated. Didn't have it back here, but it is here. So I'll need to replace that, or just use 3M strip caulk is what I may lean to. We'll see. Just a little plastic automotive tool. That seems to be working just fine for right now. Motor up. You got 5/16, 3 bolts. Let's get those loosened up so you can remove the motor. Removed. And that'll come out. Remember, these motors, you can't buy them anymore really. These resistors you can't get anymore. And the most important thing to take care of is this fan blade. You're going to be eBaying a whole heater core box if you break this. So be very careful with this thing. Let's get the heater core out. We're going to need to test that. Mine looks okay, but a little suspect right here. Never know, so we're going to have to pressure test it. But just start removing these screws on this end panel here, all the way around. Screws be loose. Yeah, there it is. This thing, assuming we'll just pull on out. I need 2 hands. There it is. These things are very expensive. Hopefully that one can be saved. Here's this foam is 3/4 of an inch wide by 3/16 of an inch thick. It's not glued on or anything. It just wants to come on off. We'll do that. Yeah. Let's get it removed. It's not clogged, but it's rusty inside. I'm gonna use some CLR. I'm gonna do a 50-50. Stole this from the kitchen sink soap dispenser filler. I'm gonna do a 50-50. 50% water, 50% CLR. Let it sit for maybe 10-15 minutes and then do a flush. 15 minutes have passed. There we go. Just take it nice and easy in the beginning. But you can do it both ways. That's good. Get nice and clean when you get all that CLR out of there. There's too much surface rust, especially on the inside, that I'm just going to have to deal with. So I'm going to have to repaint this thing, which I didn't want to do. I want to get this flapper out. So this thing's on a spline shaft. So you're going to want to get this thing in a vise and get a small punch. And the idea is you're going to hit it on that little shaft right there and tap it out. Take good pictures. It is splined. You want to get this back on exactly where it was before. Just keep tapping it. It'll slowly come out. You can see the spline right there. That was pretty easy. 2 prep things. This thing came off super easy just by literally just doing this with the razor blade, and then the whole thing came off in one piece. You can see the factory only glued it on the perimeter. And second, a lot of this sealant around the ductwork had chipped away or fallen out. And what I'm using that to fill it is just putty epoxy steel stick. That seems to do a real good job and even looks like the original stuff, even though it's not brushed on. But it sets in 5 minutes, which is nice. I'm just gonna clean it up and took care of the rust the best I could. And I'm gonna paint it. All this cleaned up nicely, no problems. Coated it because there's a lot of bare metal. 2 coats of semi-gloss black and 2 coats of faux gloss clear. It's rigged for a pressure test. Plug one end or end open and get your air hose out. I don't have a gauge, but I used a gauge on my air tank. You want to do 18 psi for about 5 minutes and look for air bubbles. And if you don't have any air bubbles, you're probably in good shape. All right, so I actually held it for about 10 minutes, around 18, 19 psi. The pressure gauge hasn't moved at all, and I did switch it over. I think it's good. Ideally, I would have had a on-off valve and a pressure gauge to see if it held pressure. So I'm doing the best I can with my hose and stuff. But I was more concerned if I saw air bubbles. It was, I think, would be a bigger indication of a leak. But I think this core is doing well. Talk about foam for a minute. So the flapper door had this old piece that peeled right off. I replaced it, something, it's very thin. I replaced it with something very similar. It's open cell, nice and squishy. You can see where it's sealed up. And my goal is to spend as little money as possible. So I got this window air conditioner filter from, I don't know, Home Depot or Lowe's for like $2. And simply just, you know, cut a piece out, and that seemed to work pretty good. Now to wrap around the heater core, I couldn't find anything like this. I didn't want anything that had sticky tape on it, because you don't want anything sticky inside the air box. So I found, so this was, well, hold on, this was the Frost King window air conditioner filter, 3/16 thick. This is the air conditioner weather seal by MD. This is 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 by 42 inches small. No stick, very soft, open cell. My idea is I'm just going to take some scissors and just cut it, maybe a 1/4 inch thick, something like that. Just cut it, very simply cut it. And I think that's gonna work well to kind of seal in that heater box. For the box itself, didn't need a little bit of weather stripping, just some standard 1/4 inch stuff. It's gonna work. You can use peel and stick for there, no problem. For the top of the heater box, I bought this install kit before the Roadster factory burned down. I don't think I'm gonna use any of it, other than this piece of foam. This looks like it's about 3/4 of an inch by maybe a 1/2 inch, and that's gonna go on top. And so that's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need a piece for the top on it, you need a piece for your core, you need a piece for the heater, and you need something to put on the door here, which actually worked really good. I'm gonna use this that I picked up, Loctite Extreme Glue. It says it's good for foam. It says good for indoor, outdoor, and temperature. So I think this is going to help bond some of the stuff. I'm mainly going to, I used it on this. I spread it on here, and I used a brush, put it down, and probably won't use any here. And I'll use a little bit to hold this down. For the heater, like I said, I cut like a 1/4 inch off, and I laid it flat here and put a little hole, wrapped it around, same thing, laid it flat, put a little hole, and then just simply just gave it a little twist just to hold it in place. Kind of similar to what the factory had done. And I think this will do the trick. Here it is installed. It Doesn't matter which way you put the heater core in, it'll fit both ways. But I put mine back the way it was. I could tell because of my little green water drip spot is there. But you can see it compressed nicely, not too bad. And it gives a nice little foam seal all the way around. And the cover will seal this up. And it's fine. Cover on. I left these 2 screws out because I need it to be a little loose so I can get the flap back on. You need a little flexibility right here. So you can put the long end with the spline in its slot. And I just have this here so it doesn't fall down in. And obviously you just want to pull that out a little bit and get it in its hole. There you go. That's good. And now we want to just put these last 2 screws in. Pictures, you want to get this back on where it was. I think I got it pretty close to probably the same way. Looks like the same angle to me. That looks perfect. And you want to put the thicker part towards the inside. I just need to give it a little tap, but it basically slid right on. Smaller weather stripping. Took my glue and just dabbed it along to get a little bite. Next, take your mount, put your motor on it, and you want the flat part to be on the left side where this turned up flanges, and you got 3 bolts to put in. So just go ahead and put those in, and then we'll see how well it's doing. So the wires in the motor are about 6 inches longer than these, so they're plenty long. These wires are 1 gauge like smaller. I think I don't want to cut this up here and splice this in and go to the smaller gauge. I think I'm going to run these straight to the switch and test it and see how it runs. So I think I'm going to abandon these lines here and just make sure they get hooked up to the right spot. I've done this right looking at Dan Master's book. My high speed orange is going to go to the top of the switch, and my low speed red is going to go to this position here. And then that, I think it's a power. It's already hooked up. It's a ground, yeah. But anyways, so that's gonna be my plan, and I'll test it out. First, tie a knot right here, because you want it to sit kind of right around there, about 4 or 5 inches away. 2, put your grommet in. 3, put your wires through. 4, pull this on. And then 5, you can add your connectors if you want. Put the box back together. I went ahead, there's no sealant up here. I went ahead and put some 3M strip caulk on the top here. That's what this is. Just to help seal it up a little bit. I did have to remove this screw right here. I'll have to put that back in on the end. But now just get the box up there and put all your screws in. All the screws went in real easy. Everything compressed really well. Everything's nice and sealed up and nice and airtight now. And now we just gotta hook it up in the car and give it a test. One more thing I forgot to do is I gotta put new weather stripping on the top of the blower motor to seal it to the bulkhead. So this is what's gonna go on there. I'm gonna use a little glue to help keep it in place. This is 3/4 by 3/8, and that'll be it. Again, the test went well. The wires got a little bit warm, but fine. No fuses blew, nothing. Not a big test. I've disconnected my electronic ignition. Everything hooked up. Temporary ground set up using my cigarette lighter ground. Motor's just sitting to the side. I'm gonna turn this. This is off. Turn 2. It won't work in accessory position. You gotta put it on. And then 1 pull for low. It's blowing. And pull again. So it's definitely wired correctly. It's perfect. Ooh, that feels nice. that blows a lot of air. Now I'm just going to let it run for 15-20 minutes and feel the wires, stuff like that. But this is a successful rebuild, and now you can just reverse everything I taught you and put her back together.